just popping on here to give you an update on our board meeting that we had on Tuesday. Listen, our meetings can last somewhere between 2 and this meeting actually 2 hours, and this meeting actually lasted until 10:45 at night. So I don't expect the citizens of Plymouth Township or anybody else to have that kind of time to watch the videos to see what's going on in their township. So my hope is that popping on here, I can give you a quick update as to what's going on in your neighborhoods and the surrounding town, as well as where I stand on certain positions. So let's just get right into it. Our board meeting started with our new supervisor, Supervisor Charles Kermey, if you hadn't been paying attention. We also have a newly elected Board of Trustees, which comprises 4 trustees. So that's myself, Trustee Mark Clinton, Trustee Sandy Groth, Trustee John Stewart, as well as our treasurer and our clerk were re-elected, Bob Dorshevitz and Jerry Vorva, who is our clerk. He does a wonderful job. They both do. So anyways, we started with a bit of an update on the election in terms of how, from Clerk Vorva, in terms of how our township voted, early voting numbers, absentee voter numbers, and in person on the day of the election of voters. And so that update was kind of interesting, and I can't go through the whole thing, but people did come out and they really spoke on the early voting. They really appreciated having the early voting, and they listened to a lot of the advertisements out there, I guess, on making sure that their vote counted, and so they really showed up for that. Then we segued into changing our meetings to 6:30 from 7 o'clock, and it's still every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. I really do invite the citizens to come out and participate. We have definitely a consistent base of people that come out to the board meetings. It would be great to see others come and just view what's going on in our township and to have a say in that as well. I think that's super important. It's part of our civic duty, but I know a lot of people can't come for 3 hours, so you can come for 30 minutes, even give a public comment. We love to hear positive, affirming public comments, and let's not let the negative comments supersede all the positive things that are going in the township. So after we voted on that, we got into a pretty heated discussion over and I have to give you a little bit of history and background to the extent that I understand it, but since the 1970s, I believe, gosh, is that right? We have had a contract with Huron Valley Ambulance. So they've been in the community for quite a long time. Their primary job is to help transport when our firefighters, who are advanced life-saving paramedics, they're both, so they're pretty amazing. They usually are the first on the scene, and then at some point, Huron Valley Ambulance comes and they can help transport to wherever the patient would like to be seen at in terms of their care at the local hospitals that they can select from. So the contentious part about this is that the contract was up for renewal for a period of time of 18 months. The last renewal that we had was only for 9 months. Now, since I've been on the board, and actually it wasn't really until about a year and a half into the board did I get a full understanding and picture of the situation in Plymouth Township in terms of our public safety. So, you know, things just kind of slowly get understood when you're in these positions. And so I've met probably, I don't know, half of the firefighters that we have employed here in Plymouth Township. We have 24, and they consistently are concerned that Huron Valley Ambulance is not showing up in a timely manner, meaning in our contract it says that they are to arrive within 10 minutes. And so the firefighters have given me and the Board of Trustees a big stack of papers that shows 20 minutes, 30 minutes, didn't come at all. And it's very concerning. So in the meeting, my vote was a no on the 18-month contract. I really feel like there's got to be something is broken. It's not working for us anymore. Huron Valley Ambulance is often coming from other parts, other neighboring communities. So even though they say that they're positioned in Plymouth Township, it's very misleading, because they might be positioned at 5 in Sheldon, but they've been called out to somewhere in Ann Arbor. So they could be coming from as far away as that. And so that's just concerning for the citizens who are expecting that life-saving support. And furthermore, one of the things that is also not understood is that we have 24 firefighters in suppression with a 6 minimum manned operating day, and this just is not keeping up with however many runs and calls that they're getting now. It's up to 3,700, and so the manpower that's needed to keep up with those runs and calls, some of the citizens feel like that's where HVA fills a gap or a hole, but that's not always the situation, because Huron Valley Ambulance has typically one basic life-saving paramedic and an advanced life-saving paramedic, where our firefighters are only advanced. So you can feel more like safe when you know that someone that's even more trained and licensed is showing up on the scene. A. B, they are kind of considered, especially by the citizens that don't understand firefighting and paramedic positions, is that, as I've come to understand, that they're not really supplemental manpower because they can't fight fires. They can't save you from a vehicular accident that requires the jaws of life. Furthermore, should we ever, God forbid, have some type of a mass shooting at a high school or elementary school or something like that, firefighters have the capability of going into the hot zone, meaning they could go into the burning building, aka the building where guns are being shot at, right? Something of that situation. They can go in and begin life-saving support on any victims in that situation, whereas Huron Valley Ambulance cannot. Okay, they have to remain in the cold zones, sitting outside the perimeter and waiting for bodies to come out and being transported, and they can transport from there. One of the men representing HVA said that they had some particular special unit, but the question is really more, well, where would they be coming from, right? We have firefighters at Station 1, 2, and 3 that covers Plymouth Township, and so the big question is, where are they coming from? It's misleading to believe that Huron Valley Ambulance is somehow here in Plymouth Township, stationed and taking care of us, and so it's been misleading. So my vote was for no, that we need to come back to the drawing table. We need to figure out how we can fix this problem. It should be a concern of the citizens, their safety, as well as we are just, if we're being led to believe that somehow this is a backfill for the lack of numbers in the firefighting department, it just really isn't, because they're just not qualified the way that firefighters / paramedics are. And so that is another thing that we need to get back to discussing, is how we can afford more firefighters to take these more difficult calls that come in and that HVA just can't respond to. So anyway, so that was that. I also, I'm going to segue out of that into a topic on some of the housing development that's going in. And so I live over by the high school, and I don't know if you guys know, but we had a farmer, Farmer Jay, who grew pumpkins here for years, 3 years. And he was a single man. He never married. He never had any children. So when he passed away, I think 96, 98 years old, his farm actually backs up to my house, which is kind of interesting. So we knew at some point, with his age, understanding his circumstances, my son actually worked for him for like a summer planting pumpkins and stuff. He just literally walk from the backyard over there and help out. So we always wondered, well, when he dies, what will happen to this piece of property? It's 6 to 7 acres. And so we have had Crest Haven Development. It's a cluster housing option where it's like a condominium. They're single family homes that are separated, but it falls under like a condominium type homeowners association, which actually is what I live in as well, even though it's a single family home. But the developers have been at the Planning Commission several times and have been given different ways to revise their plan for development, and they have followed through. So the last stamp of approval was to come to the Board of Trustees for our approval, which we gave, and I in particular thanked them for all the efforts that they put in. So some notes to keep in mind for our township is, so this is off of Canton Center Road, that dirt road. It's like one of our last dirt roads that connects Ann Arbor Road to Joy Road. So they'll be paving an additional 650 feet from the Margate development. But unfortunately, I mean, it just doesn't make economical sense for them to develop the entire road, because then they would be losing money. So this is just, when they pave, their original plan was 600 feet. Now they're at 650 feet. It's really a perk. It's for us, right? It's an incentive for us to say, yes, we'll take your development. But the rest of that paving is on Wayne County now. So hopefully we can get them to, pave the rest of it, so we don't have this little chunk of dirt and then it goes into pavement. It's so weird. Nonetheless, let's see. So it's going to connect. There's going to be a through street from the new Margate community off of Canton Center Road, almost across from Isbister Elementary. It's going to have a little park in the front. By park, I inquired because I still have kids at home. It's not a park with a playground or anything like that. It's just some green grass and a park bench. And then there's going to be a buffer of trees and kind of I don't know, they kind of paint it like it's going to be forested right behind my house, which is kind of nice, and kind of as a buffer between our neighborhood and their neighborhood. So what else to note about that? These homes will have about 8 ranches, and they are going to be beginning selling in the high 700s. So wow, kind of pricey. And I think that's a trajectory of our housing market right now. Unfortunately, cost of everything has just gone up due to inflation. So, but that's just something to keep in mind if you have any friends, family, or you desire to downsize to a ranch or something like that. You now have some more options. We also went over our budget and signed off on that per Michigan state law. And so Plymouth Township is just doing really great. It's a phenomenal place to live. We have low taxes, and that's due in part to the economic development that has been happening throughout Plymouth Township. So we need to be thankful for that. Thankful to our previous administration for helping secure some of that economic development. And let me see, what were some of the other action items? I mean, that was about it. I hope that helps. I'm going to try to do this again coming up. Our next meeting is the second Tuesday in January 2025. So I want to give a special Merry Christmas to our first responders who work on Christmas. My husband's off this Christmas for once, so that's nice, but I completely empathize with our families who will be away from their family members, husbands and wives. Children, my son is on active duty, stationed in Japan, and so I will not get to see him this Christmas. So my prayers, and just know that I'm here thinking about you all, wishing you a Merry Christmas, even though we're a couple weeks away. But I will come back after our next meeting in January to give you some more updates. God bless. Bye-bye.